Unit 4, linear and absolute value functions, question number 8. So for question number 8, it wants us to find increasing or decreasing domains. So it says determine the domain on which the following function is increasing. So you just need to remember that domain are your x values. So domain are your x values. Okay? So I need to figure out where it's increasing. So all graphs start on the left and on the right, and increase means you're going up. So if I started here and followed my graph, my line would be, or my graph would be going down. But then when it got to this point right here, it started to pivot. So it started to pivot upwards. Okay? So at what x value did it start pivoting? Well, it started pivoting right here when x was -3. So this was when x was -3. Okay? So then as it moved towards the right, we see that it keeps on going on and on and on. And if this graph got bigger and bigger and bigger, it will actually go on and on and on forever. So that means we started at -3, and then we went on and on and on forever. So we started at -3, and then we went forever to infinity. Because if you're going to the right, you're going to where the numbers are more positive, and if you go forever, you're going infinitely. Okay? Because this is on the line, okay, or this is where it's starting to increase, you put a bracket right here, and then because it's going to infinity, and infinity is not a solid number, you put a parentheses right here. Okay? But there's another way you could represent it, because this is in interval notation. Okay? So you can represent it also in inequality notation. Okay? Alright, so if you're doing an inequality notation, we started at -3, that's where we started to increase, and as we move towards the left or towards the right, this would mean that it's a less than or equal to. The domain is your x values, and it's going on and on and on forever, so it's going all the way to infinity. Okay, we wouldn't have a less than or equal to because you can't be equal to infinity. Infinity is not a solid number. Okay, so let's try the next one. So again, we're doing domain are your x values, so we're looking from left to right. Okay, but we're looking at where it's actually decreasing this time. So we're looking at decreasing. This was increasing. So decreasing would be where it's going down. So all graphs start on the left and on the right. So here it started where there was an arrow. So technically if this was a bigger and bigger graph, it would be going infinitely to the left. So we're actually starting at -infinity. Okay, because it's starting somewhere to the furthest left. Okay, so you're starting at -infinity. And then if we follow the line going downwards, it stopped decreasing, it stopped going down right here at this point right here. So it stopped going down at -3. Okay, so that means it stopped at -3, but it also includes -3. So I'll put a bracket here. Because -infinity is not a single number, it's infinite, you put a parentheses here. And again, that would be interval notation. Okay, now we're going to try to write it in inequality notation. Okay, so in inequality notation, we started at -infinity because there's an arrow here, and then we're moving from there onwards because -infinity is smaller than positive, than numbers that are less negative. We're talking about x, which is the domain, and then we're there should be no line underneath. Why is there no line underneath? Because -infinity is not a solid number. And then we're going all the way to -3, and there will be a line underneath because there's a bracket. Bracket means it's closed. So again, remember, parentheses means open, and then bracket means closed. Okay, so again, parentheses when there's a less than or greater than sign, and a bracket or a closed dot is when there's a less than or equal to or a greater than or equal to. Okay, so again guys, just like that.